Business Bites with Kay Chauhan.
Wandsworth Radio.
Hello and welcome to September's edition of Business Bites. It's been a busy month of business activity in Wandsworth as Wandsworth Council, in partnership with Enterprise Nation, continues to provide startups and growing businesses the support and advice they need to flourish. A series of business advice clinics and workshops popped up all over the borough's libraries, with business experts providing advice and information on finance, marketing, IT and the web, and legal advice as part of the council's business support in the High Street programme. Earlier this week, I went to Wandsworth Town Library to find out what kind of support and advice businesses could get, but more on that a bit later. As any wise business person like Lord Alan Sugar or Deborah Meaden of the Dragon's Den will tell you, the key to starting a successful business is to find out if there is a gap in the market for the service or product you have on offer. Or if there is a problem, do you have a solution to make life easier? We have Oliver Cummings, Partnership Manager at Market Invoice, who explains how the fintech or the finance technology sector is helping SMEs access flexible and cheaper funding solutions to run and grow their business, in the same way that iTunes and Spotify took the music industry by storm. But more from him later. This month, I also caught up with CEO and founder of the social enterprise The Do Nation. Hermione Taylor is another innovator who came up with a unique way of getting people to pledge actions to help the environment instead of donating money. She is now in her 6th year with a staff of 6 and is helping businesses to find ways to engage staff to reduce carbon emissions by carrying out simple challenges such as cycling to work or taking the stairs, as well as helping businesses to enhance their environmental credentials and improve their bottom line.
Business Bites with Kay Chauhan.
Wandsworth Radio.
Welcome back to Business Bites. This is Kay Chauhan. Over 100 businesses took advantage of business support on the High Street when business experts decamped to local libraries across the borough to meet with startups and growing businesses. The event, organised by the Council's Economic Development Unit in partnership with Enterprise Nation, said the pop-up advice service was a success, with many businesses who would not normally find it easy to access advice from business experts. Earlier this week, I went to Wandsworth Town Library to speak to the experts and some of the business owners. First up is Lorna Bladen, Head of Events at Enterprise Nation.
We want to make business support extremely accessible for people that have great ideas, but they just simply, don't know what to do with them. Half of the population think about starting up a business, but perhaps are concerned about, the fear factor, the risks involved, or simply just don't know how to turn that idea into a reality. So we've been working closely with Wandsworth Council to make, access to business support more accessible. So we've brought in a range of advisors today who are giving their time to mentor, young people with brilliant ideas.
Yeah, so my name's Shafiq Meghani and I'm a partner at a practice called N. Harris & Co. based on Clapham High Street. We were actually contacted by representatives of the council who are looking at local businesses to support the initiative of helping other businesses to give them some mentoring support on various aspects of, be it marketing or finance. And
today, what kind of people have you been finding coming up for help? Is it total newbies or people already running their businesses?
I think there's been a mixture. There's predominantly new start businesses or people looking to start a business, but we've also had some established businesses as well, in the sense that maybe they've been involved in business for 1 or 2 years and they're now looking to take the next step to take their business from a basic level into something a little bit bigger and a bit more advanced. They're looking for some slightly more complex advice.
What would you say is the most asked question in terms of finance?
There's probably 2 kind of predominant things that are being asked for. One's funding. And how they can raise some capital to expand their business. And the second seems to be around compliance. So what do they need to do in terms of reporting back to either, if they're a limited company, then Companies House, or just generally HM Revenue and Customs, and what are their requirements, bookkeeping, that sort of thing as well.
Are you finding that there's more options available to businesses and startups?
There are always more and more options, particularly with formalisation of some sort of crowdfunding schemes that are around in the marketplace. But the basic principles have always remained the same, and that is that you need some form of track record. Even as a new start, you need some sort of plan in place to decide on, to discuss what your eventual earnings could be. And they just boil down to having basic cash flow statements and projection forecasts, and to give whoever's providing the funding some sort of level of comfort that you can afford to make the repayments. So.
And what about the high street banks? Have they been a bit more open to financing businesses on this level?
Yeah, I think it's very specific to this finance institution. Some institutions are much better than others. I don't think I would say that they are generic in the way they approach these things. I've worked with my clients, but also meeting people today. I've worked with different people that seem to have better support through some institutions as opposed to others. They're not very consistent. The basic premise, though, has to be that if you walk into an institution with a plan, then they tend to take you more seriously. And that's the most important starting point, to have some sort of idea as to what you want to achieve and how you're planning to achieve it.
And what's the one big mistake that startups or existing businesses have? Is it not having all that paperwork in place, or is it something else entirely?
Well, yeah, no, it tends to be, it doesn't necessarily need to be paperwork. It can be a plan in your mind, and then you can put it down on paper. But it's having a plan. Some people just think that, thinking that they want to expand the business is enough in its own right, but I think you need to formalise that in some form. Having an idea as to how you're planning to expand the business, where are you going to increase your market share from, how are you going to cope with, let's say it's a product, then how are you going to develop the product in such a way that you can produce more of it in a shorter space of time to meet the demand of an increased customer base. And
with regards to your own organisation, what are you offering besides the advice?
So we offer free templates to help them put together business plans, to put together cash flow forecasts and those sorts of things as well. So rather than walking into a financial institution empty, they can go with some sort of facts and figures and some sort of basic knowledge of what they need to be presenting to these institutions to get the funding in the first place. We also provide free consultation on a 1 hour basis before even having to sign up as a client, just to give them an idea of what we can provide for them and take it from there.
My name is Lucy. So I have just started my small business. I do hair, makeup, and personal styling as well. I think the Council initiative is great because when we start a new business, sometimes you have the skills to do the job itself, but you don't have the skill to organize the business around, to do all the administration thing that is needed in order for the business to succeed and to not fail in the first year, because just the skill to do the job itself is not enough.
What would you say is the main key point that you've taken away?
I'm struggling with marketing. So I know how to do the actual job, but I don't know how to attract more clients. And this is marketing, the strategy. Is this a strategy that sometimes if you don't have a business education, you don't get there. And if you don't get the client, your business doesn't exist. So this is what I'm trying to say. This kind of support with the strategies of planning on how to get it, because it's all about the client. You need to get the client. No, actually, mainly the client, but also the spending. How to control the cash flow. Yes, to get this balance.
My name's Nigel Westwood, and I run a design company called Avalar. And we basically design furniture and homewares. Came here because of Enterprise Nation, and I was just interested in being able to talk to some people kind of on the outside of my business who could give me a bit of feedback on what I was doing, and there's lots of kind of good professionals to talk to. So,
what kind of business advice were you seeking today?
I guess like quite a lot of small businesses, it's always good I like to ask about kind of different options for financing my company and the different kind of sources where I can go for that. I came down, I wanted to run my marketing plans past one of the people here, but also things like just talking about the technology behind the business. I run different websites and use different things like Dropbox or whatever for the business, so it's always trying to kind of plan ahead and see other tools that might be able to help me out, or if the business grows, where I need to go with that.
And in terms of advice you've been getting today, do you think it met your expectations?
Yeah, it's full of experts on people who work in these different fields. So, I've always find like everyone's always got something that can definitely help me out. And especially, I run the business with one other person. So there's the two of us who've kind of started the business, and then we have a few other people who come in just to help out or on a contract basis, but it's just us full time.
Jo Tall from Off to See My Lawyer. So I'm a virtual law firm specialising in entrepreneurs setting up in business or seeking to grow. I'm different insofar as I'm an entrepreneur as well as a lawyer, so I truly get the pain that new startups face. And so I have a sort of unique offering, which is both an online, as I call it, oven-ready document shop with templates that entrepreneurs can use, or I can give them bespoke advice from me.
What kind of things do startups need to think about legal-wise in terms of setting up their own business?
Well, usually the biggest mistake they make is that they don't even think they need a lawyer.
We think of a lawyer when we are in trouble, or the business is in trouble.
Exactly. And so the bottom line is don't wait until you're in trouble. See a lawyer right at the outset, a bit like seeing a dentist. You go to see a hygienist because you know if you don't have your teeth cleaned, something bad is going to happen. And similarly, see a lawyer at the outset. And what I often say is start with doing a very simple, take a blank sheet of paper and do a mind map with yourself and say, right, who's involved in my business? And then just do a branch for every single person involved. And then ask yourself, do I have a contract with that person or not? And if you don't...
Is it dealing mostly with HR issue, or is it dealing with finance aspect?
No, it's literally everything that touches your business. So suppliers, your stationery and equipment, HR, yes. So if you've got staff or people helping you, that's a legal issue as well. If you're wanting to protect your ideas and trademarks, if you're wanting to borrow from a bank, every single area is covered.
So you say you're a virtual law firm. That's kind of unusual way to interact with your lawyer.
Yes, I like to think it's very novel insofar as you can link up with me via Skype or email. There's no need to come to a sort of oak-panelled boardroom and sit in fear. It all happens at a time to suit the client. A lot of my customers contact me via Skype, and often as they're running other businesses or got family commitments, they can contact me out of hours or at the weekend.
So how do you work? Do people have a kind of subscription type deal with you, or can they call you on an ad hoc basis?
Usually they'll have we pre-agree what advice they need for a specific matter, and then the calls come as part of that. Or they will buy a template from my document shop, and then that comes with 30 minutes free advice that they can call off when they're ready.
So how did you come to the idea of starting up your own online law shop?
I think because I'm a mum as well, and doing traditional hours in the city just didn't work. I wanted to sort of see my children, and so I thought, right, I'm going to be my own boss and run it on my own terms. So I work from home, and my team will work from home as well.
Back to today, how have people responded to potentially getting help from a virtual lawyer?
Very positive, and I think I've highlighted areas where they didn't even realise they needed legal advice, such as, using a freelance contractor. A lot of people don't realise that they won't own what's created for them unless they say so specifically. So they risk spending a lot of money and then not owning it at the end of the day.
So you have to have that in place in a contract before you actually hire them?
Correct, yes.
But do you think people are open to getting advice in this way, or is it quite a very niche thing?
I think there's still a bit of hesitancy. I suppose almost like dentists, people don't really relish going to the dentist, but I'm trying to turn that on.
You really got your dentist analogy going, haven't you?
Yes. Just because I see that's where we sort of draw parallels, but I'm trying to turn that on its head and say, seeing a lawyer at the outset will help you sleep well at night and actually save you thousands in the long run, because trying to unravel a bad deal really is costly and stressful as well.
And can you help any kind of business startup in terms of sector?
Yeah, we cover all businesses because we've got specialists in all areas. So whether they're small or even really large, we also have large corporate clients. who just need an extra pair of hands. We're all lawyers with lots of years of experience under our belt, so no deal is too small or too big.
To find out about future business support events, visit the Council's website on www.wandsworth.gov.uk, or to find out about the resources available from Enterprise Nation, go to www.enterprisenation.com. Next up is Oliver Cummings from Invoice Finance, disruptor Market Invoice.
Business Bites with Kay Chauhan.
We love Wandsworth. Wandsworth Radio.